Martin Scorsese once said, "Would anyone dream of telling young artists to throw away their paints and canvases because iPads are so much easier to carry? Of course not. In the history of motion pictures, only a minuscule percentage of the works comprising our art form was not shot on film. Everything we do in HD is an effort to recreate the look of film." This was during a lobby, which he was a part of, to support Kodak to keep film stock alive, which ended up working as Kodak would go on to announce they would continue to produce film stock. Marty has always been an outspoken supporter of film stock and prefers using it over filming movies digitally. Both film and digital have their pros and cons, and Scorsese knows which side he's on. As someone who supports film preservation, being the founder of the Film Foundation, he also commends film for its longevity. In the past, he said, "Film, even now, offers a richer visual palette than HD, and we have to remember that film is still the best and only time-proven way to preserve movies. We have no assurance that digital information will last, but we know that film will, if properly stored and cared for." Today it's rare to see a movie that is completely shot on film. Scorsese himself has also moved along with the times, using digital cameras where he sees fit. The Wolf of Wall Street, for example, though shot on film for the most part, had nighttime scenes shot on digital, as in terms of lighting and costs it was easier, and cinematographer Rodrigo Prieto used an Arri Alexa digital camera for scenes with heavy use of green screen. Hugo, of course, is a bit of a special case, since it was a 3D film and as such needed special 3D digital cameras to shoot. So what about his latest picture, The Irishman? Will this movie be shot on film or digital? In general, given its Scorsese directing, you'd think the movie would be shot on film with a few bits here and there on digital. But with this movie, there's going to be a lot of CGI, as shown in set images with numerous green and blue screens, and one of the major talking points of the movie, which is that the main cast, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino and Joe Pesci, will be de-aged using CGI. Now if you're using a lot of CGI in your movie, it's easier to shoot digitally. You lose a lot. For example, as Scorsese has put it, film is much better at capturing skin tone, but digital can be sent to effects houses more efficiently, as there's no need to develop the film and scan it. You can see the dailies straight away on the spot to see if the shots are composed correctly for the effects to be superimposed later on. And just in general, digital effects tend to look better on digital cameras. For sure, at least some of the movie is going to be filmed digitally, as we know that Industrial Light and Magic have developed special cameras for the movie, digital cameras of course, that actually de-age the actors on the go. Using previously captured information where the actors went into the studio and had numerous pictures taken of them, the cameras are able to de-age the actors using these little dots around their faces as trackers. It's not going to be perfect of course, and most of the de-aging refining work would be done later in post-production. So does this mean Scorsese's period gangster film will be shot completely in digital, foregoing the naturalistic look of his previous movies, having a glossy look to better mesh the effects in? Well, the answer to the question, going off of set images, seems to be not completely. Here for example, we have a scene with De Niro in a phone booth, and the camera being used to film him is a film camera. So there are definitely segments of the movie that are being shot on film, old school style. Then we have these images, where the camera being used to film the actors is digital. So the answer to the question in the title of the video is both. But which parts of the movie will be film and which will be digital? These sets of images of De Niro and Pacino in front of a camera on a golf field were forwarded to me by a subscriber of this channel. We talked about the movie online and he made a really good point in that it's likely they used digital cameras for the flashback scenes and 35mm film for the scenes set from 1975-ish onwards. In other words, when de-aging CGI is no longer necessary. This could be to differentiate the look of the different time periods, but mainly because, well, of course, the digital cameras are part of the de-aging process. They're not just any old digital cameras, they are specially tailored for the film's needs. So it makes sense they would use them for scenes where they are essential and then switch to film, Scorsese's preferred format, for the later time periods when digital is no longer necessary. To get the de-aging right for the flashback scenes, you would need digital cameras anyway to do it right, even if they weren't filming with special de-aging ones. With digital, you can achieve a sleek look that can mask CGI use, but trying to de-age actors when their faces have been shot on film, where they are more organic, can have jarring consequences. So it does look like the movie will be going in this direction. Digital for the flashback scenes, film for the later ones. As far as we know, of course. It would be more appropriate to shoot the flashback scenes digitally for other reasons also, like superimposing green screen shots into the frame, which Prieto, when speaking about The Wolf of Wall Street, said he found it easier with digital cameras. And also numerous bits of CGI things that would be placed into the movie during flashback scenes, trees, stores, background people, etc., to make it seem more authentic that the movie is taking place in the time period that it's supposed to take in. This is a lot easier to do when shooting digitally, as experts like David Fincher will tell you. Granted, most people won't care what the film is shot on, but many do. It affects the look of the film, and everyone has their preference. For me, I think it depends on the individual film itself, but in general, I prefer the look of film. One of the concerns I raised all the way back in my first video on The Irishman a year ago was, if the movie is using CGI, surely it would be filmed in digital, and if it's filmed in digital, would it be accompanied by crappy color grading and poor lighting that a lot of movies that are filmed digitally have? It's a legitimate concern for Scorsese fans, as it's linked to a larger change in Hollywood and movies. We've seen numerous talented filmmakers who've made beautiful films in the past, shot on film and using mostly practical effects where effects are necessary. Tim Burton, for example, has made some gorgeous looking films, but his recent output don't look good at all. In part due to an over-reliance on computer-generated effects and the film being shot digitally with flat-out unappealing color grading also. Scorsese is one of the few filmmakers currently who has remained at the top for decades, but even he started to shift towards digital effects quite a bit, as I detailed in my How Much CGI Will There Be in The Irishman video. And the last few movies and TV shows he's done has started to use digital cameras more and more. And now we come to The Irishman, which will have CGI and use digital cameras in abundance. I'm not saying the film will look bad, I'm just saying there is concern for the look of the movie. And just as a side point, I also feel that period movies set in the past, tend to look better when shot on film, and they can look quite off-putting when filmed in digital, like for example Michael Mann's Public Enemies. But then again, this is Scorsese we're talking about. You only have to take a look at his recent picture Silence to know that the man knows how to make a good looking film, so it's sensible to assume the movie is in safe hands. Thanks for watching.